welcome into Extra Time. I have to apologise at the top of the show because apparently on Extra Time the other day I called it a full house and I was reprimanded on Twitter because they said it's never a full house without Ali Moreno.
Oh, well,
so there you
go. people do love me, Kate. Now, these guys don't love me, but people do love me.
Yeah, all three of them. Anyway, Shaka, Ale, Jan and Nathan.
Speaking of that, Jan in Extra Time with me, he has shown in the past that he hates me. Not that he doesn't like me, that he hates me. And thank goodness you're here, Kay, because when it's me and Dan, Jan does not like it at all.
Jan, you have the right to reply.
Who is this guy next to you? I've never seen him before.
Well, he is a fan favourite here on Extra Time. Only he can be here for a full house. First question for Ale. If Lionel Messi has an outstanding Copa America campaign, is that enough for Argentina to win the Copa America?
No, and here's why. Lionel Messi has had great tournaments in the past with Argentina, and it hasn't been enough. He had a great World Cup in 2014. Was that enough? Not quite. There isn't enough help around him. Now, he could have a great tournament, they could make a deep run, and it's really going to depend as to what happens with Brazil, because according to Casemiro, Brazil is not going to play Copa America. So we shall see.
Okay, we shall see. We'll move on actually as well to talk about hairstyles.
Ooh, okay.
Dan the Orange Man.
All right, I'm good with this.
I'm going to start with you, Nadem. He says, after Foden copied Gascoigne's blonde haircut, which current or former player's haircut would you copy?
Oh, my goodness. At the age of 34, turning 35. I don't know. I'll tell you what I liked. I like Reece James's change-up for the Champions League final, and it seems to energise him. So if that's the same for me, I'd do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, let's go along, all of you, for this one. Jan, who are you going to copy?
Well, I got a son who was a big fan, or is a big fan of David Beckham, and he was 7 till he was 12, every haircut. So I would have probably at that time done David Beckham. In concern of Phil Foden, I'm not sure if I love it or I hate it. I haven't decided yet, but I love the praise he had for Paul Gascoigne over 96 euros, so I think I will love it.
Jan, what about the cornrows? The David Beckham cornrows?
He didn't go there. He didn't go there. He stopped.
Okay.
Well, he stopped when he took everything. He went bold, then he stopped. Or I stopped him.
Yeah, good. That's good to hear. Let's go along then. Shaka, what about you?
I can see myself very Neymar-esque.
What?
Oh.
What? Hey, there is nothing Neymar-esque about you, Shaq. Nothing.
I'm just saying, I can pull it off, Ali. I'm feeling it.
Oh, you can feel it all you want, but you're not going to pull it off.
You can feel it in your finger.
Alan, haircut that you'd copy?
Well, because I don't have many options, you see, Kay. Hair is not something that I have plenty of. So I would suggest that maybe I would go with the Ronaldo look from 2002 World Cup.
Right.
Maybe that's something that I can recreate. Yeah, a little something in the front.
Worst haircut ever.
Yeah,
Can I recommend either Wayne Rooney or Antonio Conte for Ali? I think that's needed.
Yeah, but that's going to take some time, Shaq. It's going to take some time.
No.
I'm just saying.
It would,
You can plug a few holes. Let's just leave it at that.
I think you're looking great, Ale. Anyway,
Well, thank you, Kay.
Madame Bascotta says, for Ale, don't you think Barcelona should try to sell Griezmann and look for a long-term striker? He's neither a winger nor a striker, and surely he can't dribble.
Well, so I'm going to get that Madame Bascotta doesn't like Griezmann all that much.
I guess not.
The decision to bring Griezmann to begin with was incorrect by Barcelona because there was no place for him to play. He wanted to have the Messi role, and yeah, as long as Messi is there, he's not having that role. And so he's trying to find his place in this team and hasn't quite succeeded. But there is no market really out there for Antoine Griezmann. And by the way, other teams around the world know that Barcelona are desperate to find some sort of business partner. And because of that, they are going to push Barcelona to the limit to where Barcelona ends up losing anyway. So if you're Barcelona, you're kind of saying, you know what, we're just going to have to make the best of what we got, and Antoine Griezmann is part of that package.
Okay, I'm going to give you this or that again this time, Shaka, like I did the other day, but you don't have to be too biased in this one. Kevin Nguyen says, between Spurs and Everton, which job opening is more appealing and why?
Ooh. I think Spurs. I just think, I have a feeling I'll be abused for this. I think Spurs is a bigger club of the two. I think it's a more attractive proposition. They're one of the traditional big six, though they haven't really enjoyed that position for the last couple of seasons. Between the two, I think that's the one that more managers would lean toward.
Nadim, Spurs or Everton? Which for you?
I'd have to agree with Shaka. I think especially given the fact that Spurs have made it into the Champions League before, and at this moment in time they still have one Harry Kane, I think that would ultimately be more appealing to me. And add in the fact that right now Tottenham are doing better than Arsenal, whereas in Liverpool, I think Liverpool are probably going to be the dominant force there over Everton for a long time to come. So I think Spurs is probably the more appealing one at this moment in time.
Jan, would you rather be dealing with Daniel Levy in the big wigs at Everton?
I think that the big challenge for any leader or any manager to go to Tottenham would be to get that winning culture into the club. It's easy to make the options of who you like or biggest club or whatever. I remember in the 80s where Everton were fantastic with Howard Kendall and so on. But I think that the biggest challenge to go to Tottenham Hotspur is to find that winning culture, a culture that can win them titles. And I think that is a big challenge for a lot of managers around.
Your question about Daniel Levy. So I was watching the Amazon Prime video special on Spurs. And one of the takeaways that I had with that is, how could anybody work for this guy? It's just annoying. Meddling, interfering all over the place, talking to the coaches every morning, having breakfast with them. It's like, dude, let me do my job. Let me work, all right? You just take care of the other stuff. I'll do the work on the field. So to that end, I would suggest maybe Everton, simply because whatever you do with Everton, Carlo Ancelotti walked there, won a couple of games like, yes, yes, yes! Whatever you do with Everton seems to be, whatever you gain seems to be a big deal. So therefore, I think there's much more to gain with Everton than there is with Spurs.
Nadim, you wanted to come back in?
Yes, I did, yeah, because I fell off the fence for a second, but I need to jump back on. And one thing I need to say is that as far as Everton goes, it's an incredible family club. So depending on what the manager is, you know, they might want to be part of that environment or go into a more high-pressure one where you do deal with Daniel Levy and deal with more of an expectation of winning things, even if it doesn't work out. But I have to give Everton credit because everybody that's played there, they've said they've loved it. So that is a very attractive proposition.
Yeah,
but I also want to say, Kate, to Al,
big old jump back on that fence.
Straight back on.
And I think that Al's point with Daniel Levy, but I think that what we will find in the international football is that they are all mad in those positions. This is the only guy who's shown it the reality TV. So I think there is some mad guys around, except Gibson at Middlesbrough. He's a decent guy.
Oh, yeah, he is. The Middlesbrough chairman, Steve Gibson, Sir Steve Gibson. Funnily enough, that leads us perfectly to the next question, Jan. Busted Spike says, what is Jan's favourite memory of the borough? And that could be more than just a team.
Yes, I was lucky to come to Middlesbrough at a time when everything just exploded. It was a revolution up there. And I remember driving past Riverside Stadium every day, and they said, well, he's going to be ready for the Chelsea game, and so on and so on. And nobody believed it, and then suddenly we were there. We beat Chelsea in that first game. I scored a Buzz Aldrin goal, after Craig Hignett did the first. And it was also great, the first game with Juninho. Juninho is a folk hero, he's a legend, he's a Harry Potter for Middlesbrough, and it was a fantastic game against Leeds United. I was fortunate enough to score that goal with a pass from Juninho, and that was a fabulous day. Kay, were you there?
Of course I was there, Jan. But
Yeah,
you know what I did
yeah.
hear? Do you know what I did hear?
Yeah.
I heard that down the road in Newcastle there was a goalkeeper who was very jealous and wished that he'd signed for Middlesbrough instead of Newcastle.
Of course.
Was there? None of the other goalkeepers told me that.
Nadim, have you got any memories from Middlesbrough?
I was just about to say, Kay, after Jan said he went to Middlesbrough at a good time, There's never a good time to go to Middlesbrough.
Wow.
There's just a less bad time.
Wow.
Shaka, Shaka, Shaka.
Woo!
Shaka,
Shaka, you should. Yeah, I would hide if I were you as well, Shaka. We do have Middlesbrough fans watching this. Nadem, any Borough memories?
Yeah, I've got a couple. One for the Borough fans was when they beat City 8-1, but I wasn't playing, so I'm not going to mention that one. But in terms of a big game between the two of us when I was at City, it was 2005, the last game of the season. And if we won, we would have qualified for the UEFA Cup. But if Borough didn't lose, then you'd make it there. And in the game, I remember my old manager, as it turned out to be, Jim Ford Hasselbank, hit a free kick from 30 yards out. And then from there, we were pushing. We had two goalkeepers on the field at the same time for us. I think we scored as well to make it 1-1. And then the last minute, Robbie Fowler had a penalty to send us into Europe, which he missed, and he never misses penalties. But lo and behold, the next season, you guys make it to the UEFA Cup final. And I was just left thinking, I wonder if that could have been us. But yeah, that's a strong memory I have of that particular Middlesbrough side in that game, because you guys were a good team. I'll give you credit where it's due.
Funnily enough, it's a strong memory I have as well of that game, but I think I have a better recollection of it than you do, Nader. Anyway, that will do it for the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us. Thank you for your questions. And sorry to those of you who were upset that I called the last one a full house without
I was here. I was here, people. That's all right. It's okay. I'm back, baby.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week, subscribe to ESPN+.